This video is going to show you Solo Flawless Duality Dungeon during the Interlight update. For those that just want to see that and skip the timestamps, just to remind people on though, it's come to my attention that it is on the rise on the amount of people that are not subscribed to the channel. It's almost at 54% now. So this is steadily rising, who aren't subscribed, but you are regularly watching. I can understand somebody not subscribing because they don't watch much, but if you're regularly watching, then it's in your incentive to subscribe. For one, you're going to get notified of videos that I do, because not all my videos get notified to everybody. It's just how YouTube is. So you're going to miss out on stuff, right? And especially if I post something out there, if I post something that's really important that needs to be posted as of then, I generally try to do that if it's really important. So you'll miss out on stuff like that. And the amount of words per minute on my videos are higher than most. So let's give you a little example. So you've got your old Rick Hackers. All right, his words per minute are the equivalent of a high impact auto rifle in Destiny 2. That's his words per minute. That's if he was a gun, that's where he would be. My words per minute are the equivalent of Necrochasm or Sweet Business with the Damactian War Rig chestplate. So you're getting more words per minute, therefore more information per minute per video, etc. So there's a whole load of gains for you. And not only that, I'm focusing a lot of it is on solo stuff as well, which a lot of people want that stuff. So there's a lot of benefits to it, and it costs you nothing. So that's what I'm saying. The reason why I've been on this subscriber march is this. This is really important. It's to do with Final Shape. Right, now if Final Shape tanks next month, as in it isn't successful, or it's average or below, then my channel will probably also tank. So it's important that Final Shape does well. See, what you need to understand is, for content creation, it's not just the player that has a role, it's the game that they cover. So if the game that they cover is in a good spot, then if the channel, like if I'm doing the right things that I should be, then my channel will pick up as well. So a lot of it's based on that. But I'm just saying, I'm trying to bolster my channel as much as possible as a plan B option. If Final Shape tanks, then what do I do? That's my question I've been saying to myself over the last few months. If Final Shape tanks, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm not really bothered about like what everyone else is doing. I need to really ultra focus on me. What am I going to be doing if Final Shape's bad? Or even if it's average, because even if it's average, I'll still might consider hanging my boots up for D2. If it's average and I'm going nowhere, like it's like a boat in the ocean. If it hasn't got a destination, you just go nowhere, and that's what I don't want to happen to me. I want us to always be going somewhere with something, and this all depends on how Final Shape performs. So that's why I've been on a subscriber march. It's not to force people. It's not to, as I say, bully people into doing it and stuff like this. It's just, as I say, to see if I can go take this somewhere. That's all it is. And you can't call me for trying in life. All right? Because I know there's a few people starting to bite my heels about this subscribe thing. Right, there's timestamps. Just skip it. You don't need to listen to it if you don't want it. If you just want the information, that's fine. It's all timestamped for you. All the information's there, spread out, presented to you perfectly. If you can't click a damn timestamp, then that's your fault, not mine. Right, getting onto the Emblem. So the Untouched by Opulence Emblem, Duality is in a 2-year anniversary. It's coming up to its 2-year anniversary, right? So the stats you're going to see here. So it's in actual fact only 2.8% of players have this emblem. 2.8% in 2 years, by the way. That's 2 years. That's a long time. So this emblem's still rare after all that time. So this is what I'm coming back to. It's the same as the Wallers in the Ghost of Deep video. In terms of get your Solo Flawlesses done this season, because we have mods like Revitalize and Blast, Solo Operator, all this stuff. Your damage is buffed so much solo-wise this season. It's one of the best seasons for solo damage that we've had in ages. All right? So it's very important that people who are struggling on Solo Flawlesses, which I know that's a lot of you, because I read a lot of your comments. I'm reading comments all the time. So I know there's loads of people struggling on a lot of these dungeons, and apparently Duality is one. I don't know why, because it's not as difficult as War's Room, but I guess I can see how people could fail on it because there's a lot of time constraints with Duality, but it's not too bad once you get to the grips with it. That's what this video is going to cover, of course. So you've seen the stats, you've seen all that. Now I'm going to talk about loadouts. So there's 3 encounters in Duality. There's traversal as well, but there's 3 encounters. So the Gahlran loadout is as follows. By the way, the fragments, the super, everything never changes on any of the loadouts, and the dim links will be in the description. So we've got Thunder Crash, Thruster, Seismic Strike, Pulse Grenade, Knockout, Touch of Thunder for for aspects. Fragments are Spark of Resistance, Ions, Magnitude, and Shock. We pair that with the Precious Scars. So this is a Precious Scars build, revolving us getting energy kills that match our subclass to get health regen. There'll be more about this information in the run itself. Weapons, Scatter Signal, Brigand's Law, any Vault Shot weapon. I highly recommend a Vault Shot weapon in this though, but you don't have to run a Vault Shot weapon. But I feel as though it just plays into the arc fantasy if you do. Things like this, Vault Shot, that Vault Shot. But we've got Brigand's Law on. The Lament Exotic Sword. I'm not going to go into the mods because there's dim links. And I will talk about anything that's really important to the run, of course. That's the first loadout. We surge switch. So look, we've got a healthy finisher on the class piece. This allows us to keep armor charges via siphons. We then do a surge switch to DPS for triple solar weapon surge, for Lament, therefore increase in damage, and we also have Curious of Fallen Star to increase Thunder Crash's damage. That's the first loadout. For Vault, it is exactly the same, so I don't need to go over this. I use the exact same thing for the Vault encounter. For Caiatl, finally, we use same fragments, same everything, same weapons, but we use Insurmountable Skullfort, which gives arc melee kills, grant health, and melee energy. Doesn't sound that good, but it really, really, really is. It's so fun, this, on Caiatl. I highly recommend it. You're going to see the gameplay. I'm looking forward to it because it's absolutely fantastic. Notable changes, I suppose, hands-on, heavy-handed impact reduction, stuff like that. But like I say, I'm not going to cover every single mod, but those are the loadouts for all the encounters. Oh, and finally, traversal. So traversal, we use Lion Rampants and an Eager-Edged Sword, but it didn't matter. You don't have to do that either. It's not essential for you to do that. Oh, I tell you what is nice though, he's having a sniper on. It actually is really nice for shooting bells on the traversal section. That was the loadouts. So for players that are not familiar with the routing for Duality, this video will show you it, but at a 2x speed to speed up the video, and it's easier for me to edit. It's less commentary that I need to do on these parts, because with traversals in dungeons, all you really need to know is that obviously they can ruin a solar floors because you fall off map. That's the biggest danger. And there are some occasions where you could. There's 1 or 2 occasions where you've got to look out on the traversal sections of losing a solar flawless. And if you're not familiar with that, then I can point that out to you. But for most players, they understand the routing. These videos don't really help them for traversal. It's more for the boss encounters and the encounters themselves. That is really it. But obviously, I'm still going to include the traversal on this, just because it's not too much of a big deal. As long as we speed it up like this, then that's fine. So shoot the bells on screen. There's a skip here, by the way. You just drop all the way down. That's actually a bit of a time save, so that's good. So the first mechanic to the dungeon is that there's a nightmare realm and a standard realm. And there's a bell. Shooting the bell in the nightmare realm, you need to stand in the circle or you will wipe you. So you need to stand in the circle. This is the first main mechanic of the dungeon. That there's 2 realms and that there's a bell to shoot. This is obviously going to step up in difficulty when we get to the encounters. But it's teaching you the first mechanic in actual fact. So the first encounter is obviously a boss. Swap to your loadout, make sure you got your right loadout on, and then you can triple rally reserve as well for your Lament if you want. The graph on screen, which is going to go small in a minute, showing you the map for Gahlran. The symbols are as follows: top left cup, top right sun, bottom left axe, bottom right dog. I'm going to leave the graph on there because it's going to be helpful for you to understand the time save on DPS. This is very important. It's actually misunderstood somewhat. So, bell bearers will spawn opposite side of the bell that you shot. We kill them first. Well, you don't have to, but they're there to be killed. Then we're going to look on our radar. There's 4 rooms, like I've just said. Sun, axe, dog, etc, etc. You go to all those rooms and there's a random location of scion spawn. There'll be 2 scions that spawn. Kill them both. Pick up only one symbol. It doesn't matter which one you pick up. Just pick up only one. Leave the other one on the ground. Right? Just do that. Then go to bell, because you've got a 60-second timer. So when the 60 seconds runs out, if you don't escape, yeah, then you will die. Dunk symbol. In this case, it's sun. So we are top right at the minute in terms of map. When we dunk symbol, you get a Colossus orange bar and some dogs. We'll use a pulse nade. We'll use Brigand's Law with Vault Shot, which does really... I'll talk at length about this, by the way, in coming times. But we're just talking more mechanics at this minute. We then get 2 bell bearers that we need to kill again. You'll always have to kill bell bearers to open the bell up on that side. Right? We then want to go in the room. This locks you in the room and sends you to the Nightmare Realm. We then need to kill, let's count them up, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many copies is it? I don't even know. 6. So I believe it's 6 copies of Gahlran, unless I can't count. 6 copies of Gahlran, then you escape. So did you see where we was? We were at Sun, and the route and was all the way to Dog, and we escaped from the Dog room out to the middle area. So did you notice we went from Sun to Dog there? But the Scion, remember from earlier that we killed, has respawned. We pick up his symbol, because the symbol was on the ground from earlier. We then have an extra Scion in the Axe room. Take note, Axe room. But we have Cup as a symbol. Cup is top left. Axe is bottom left. So there's a Scion bottom left. We are going to kill him for extra time. This is a very, very important mechanic for DPS. So it's not as important this season because we've got extra damage, solo operator and stuff. But that's important. Okay, so then you can fully understand. The map is actually visual. I can actually show you it better because there's a map at the top right to show you this. Right, then we'll just spam Brigand's Law with Precious Scars so we keep getting restoration. And by the way, Vault Shot's proccing restoration, I think. It's hard to kind of tell because I'm getting so much restoration, but I think it is. Because it's part of the gun. Vault Shot's part of Brigand's Law, so it's going to count as an elemental kill. So we use Scatter Signal, all Scatter Signal. We pick up the orbs because you get a buff. Unstable Essence is a buff, by the way, that drops from the copies. Look at the sound. Here we go. Look at the timer. Boom. Extra time. 102 it was. We then go for the 2 bell bearers. It's the same mechanic. We'll get a shoulder charge, seismic strike on them to blind them. Really good. Do a surge switch now. Right? And then we're going to go in for damage. Don't T-crash right away. First start with a jolt from your pulse. Right? Then T-crash when the boss has been stunned by your pulse or something. Now my controller messed up massively here. It wasn't... I really messed up damage on this phase, I'll be honest, but this is still an easy solo 2 phase. Just some of my combos were not intentional. My controller wasn't charging the Lament properly at times. It was more of a me problem on this phase. But on phase 2, the damage is much better. But to be honest, it doesn't matter because this is a setup for a solo 2 phase. Alright? Having said that, it's not too bad. We're doing alright there, actually, in fact. I'm being too critical there. It was all right. It could have been a bit better, but it doesn't matter because it's a solo 2 phase anyways. We don't need to micro look at phases so much. So if a 2 phase is a 2 phase and that's it. If a spade's a spade, we don't need to change it. Do you get it? So even if I'd done maximum damage there, I still wouldn't have solo 1 phased. That is the point. You can solo 1 phase him, but not with this loadout. And that's not what I'm covering in this video. Right, rinse and repeating. So now you've understood the mechanics. You've understood there's 2 sounds that spawn in once you go in that Nightmare Realm. Yeah? So, like I was saying, with Precious Scars, you can get a hell of a lot of healing with this build because of Vault Shot spreading out to all the enemies. There's a weakness to this though. The weakness is this. If you run Precious Scars on a class that isn't solar, you can't extend the restoration so easy. So you get a 3-second timer on restoration. It can't be refreshed is what I'm saying to you. it can't be refreshed because then it would be like sort of like infinite. So it's not infinite restoration. It's, in other words, a 3-second restoration every time you get a kill after the 3 seconds. So you get a kill, right? It'll pop down to 0 seconds. You'll have no restoration, pads down, right? You get another kill, then you get your restoration back. So it's not going to be like as premium as a Solar Titan for survivability, but what's the pros? The pro is that I can now jolt enemies. Imagine in a GM where I need to jolt overloads. Imagine in some activity where I prefer jolt over solar, but I still get restoration. Right, this is good. This would apply if we needed Behemoth Titan. Say, for example, an activity you need a Behemoth Titan for some reason, yeah? Then you can run Precious Scars with a Stasis Primary. Or a heel clip weapon, which I've been going on about for ages. Heel clip weapons are huge now in the game where a class lacks survivability right now. So, yeah, Precious Scars is just literally one of the best neutral-based exotics in the game. And it's really good. It's not good for everything, though. I did mention this. I used Precious Scars in Whisper, and it wasn't good as Synthoceps. See, what you need to understand is sometimes you want damage, and sometimes you want survivability. It depends on what you do. And in this case, we don't need the damage because we can surge switch anyways onto T-Crash, Curious of the Fallen Star. So we've got all the damage in the world. On this particular loadout, it's focused all on survivability. Always use Scatter Signal on the copies of Gahlran because you want to one-shot them and get through it quick. If you're slow at all with killing the copies, you lose time DPS. Because the Nightmare Collapsing buff is also your DPS timer. So the quicker you are at doing that, the better you'll be. The more damage you'll do. You'll get your Solar 2 phase. Solar 2 phase is real dang easy. And what you need to understand as well, on the second phase you have more time. There's 2 reasons for that. And I'll mention it when we get there. On phase 1 you don't get as much time. There's obvious reasons, which I'll explain when we get to that DPS phase. So we're just rinsing and repeating. We've got our armor charges as well, which I recommend for armor charges. You don't need concussive dampener in this because we've got restoration. We do want concussive dampener later though. Alright, there's times when I'll take it on and off. I have to take concussive dampener off because I want to charge it up. And it's worth the charged up in this. This is the game I play. Is resistances versus damage. And it's a balancing act between the two. And I tip the scales depending on exactly what we are doing. We micromanage to that degree, and I can tell you you could just randomly ask me something like in an encounter in a dungeon, mention any random, do it down below if you want, mention any random dungeon encounter and ask me if I would rather run charged up or concussive dampener, and I would give you a specific answer for any encounter that you mentioned to me right now. Because I would know exactly which one I would prefer at that given moment. And I'm not just talking about GMs, I'm talking about any encounter in the game. It all depends. Now look at the extra Scion. The Scion was in this room. Yeah, so the Scion was in this room. We've got our extra time. So look at that on the left-hand side. It's now DPS. So the big reason that we get more time is because we don't need to kill Bellbearers. And we don't need to escape because we're going to kill him. So that's 2 big time savers. So we're going with the Jolt, the Pulse Nade first. Then Lament damage, right? Then we'll do our super because he's stunned. See, if you do your super right away, the boss might jump out of the way of your super, which happens quite frequently with Gahlran and his Jason X Fanatics with his whatever them melee things are on his hand. So it's hard work is what I'm saying. So you don't need to rush no super. You don't need to do it right away. You're not timed in that manner because you don't need your super back for anything. So just use it when you think, right, the boss is stunned, he's behaving, because you don't want to miss the super. It's no big deal if you don't, but if you miss it, you might T-crash past him, and then you've lost Lament damage. Which, the Lament damage, it doesn't matter the combos. The highest DPS with it, though, is light, heavy. It's light, it's charged, light, heavy, then 2 light swings that are not charged, then light, heavy, charged in that combination. Now, it doesn't matter on Gahlran because the time is so good, You don't need to do that exact rotation of damage. Like if you don't do light, heavy, doesn't mean you're going to solo two-phase. You'll still solo two-phase, man. Even if you do 4 light, 1 heavy every time, you're still going to solo two-phase him as long as you follow the rules that I said about the bell bearers, especially on phase 2. Don't kill them because they're taking your time up. But on Caiatl, it's a bit more important to follow the damage rotation that I mentioned with Lament. So that's the secret chest. Right, we're going to shoot the bell, and it's this statue you want to start with. Now, to this day, I don't know what the lock combinations are, like if there's multiple. But all I'm saying is this. The combination for the vault, right, is 3-2-2. That is it. So the first statue was 3 times activated. This is 2. So 3-2-2. That is the rotation I do it. I'm honestly really ignorant if there is another combination. If there is, I don't care too much. For the last 2 years, this is all I've done. 3-2-2. 3-2-2. That is it. I don't care if there is other combinations. That's how you open the vault. That is it. Right. Make sure you shoot the bell again in the circle, because that was technically the nightmare realm there. But you weren't timed. There was no nightmare collapsing. So here's a map again. Vault. Vault map. Stairs at the bottom. Notice. We've got top left cup, top right sun, bottom left axe, bottom right dog. Now you're going to say to me that graph's upside down, what you're playing at. I know it is, but there's a method to my madness. See, the way I've learned myself with Duality, I have all these micro things where I learn things on a micro way. I look at my symbols away from the steps. I always think, when I'm thinking about symbols, I think, right, what is cup? It's top left, away from the stairs. So let's say the stairs are spawn point. Let's just say that. So looking away from the stairs, cup is top left, sun is top right, dog is bottom right, axe is bottom left. That's how I do this. If you want to do it the other way and inverse it, you can, but don't make me do that. I'm just telling you, that's how I do this. It's really straightforward with the symbols. I don't want to overcomplicate it, but the thing about the symbols is this. If you get them wrong, you're dead. So they are important. Although they're simple, yes, but anyone can make a slight error and go to the wrong side. Especially when we were all new at Duality, we all went to the wrong side on occasions. So in this case, we've picked up our symbol. I'll commentate a little bit more the next time we come back in here. But you want to get one symbol at a time. I tested trying to get 2 today, and you can, but it's risky. And I don't want to showcase that to people. You want an eager-edged sword if you're going to do that. And I don't recommend it for people. There's no need for you to rush vault. You're not trying to speedrun world record this. So you don't need to get the 2 symbols in 60 seconds. You can, and it is doable. And people have done it. People were doing 2 symbols week 1 when Duality came out. So I'm sure as hell we can do it now, especially with the movement tech that we've got. Yes, but listen, on a so flawless, don't worry about it. This encounter isn't that long anyways. So just get one symbol at a time, and that's it. Now, obviously, we're using Precious Cards still with Brigand's Law. It's melting everything. All right, I highly recommend you craft this. I have used Brigand's Law in the past, but I'd never crafted it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to use Brigand's Law because I was going to use Subjunctive, which is class. But Brigand's Law, I don't know. Because it's barrier sidearm, you see, which, by the way, you need barrier sidearm for this. This is why. When we come to the Nightmare Realm, there's phalanxes. We can shoot through their shields. And did you notice the stun lock? Look at the stun lock that the sidearm's doing. See, what you need to realise is some champ mods stun lock enemies, regular enemies. So, for example, does anyone remember Barrier SMG? The old Barrier SMG. It used to stun lock enemies huge. Well, because of the rate of fire of Brigand's Law, and because it's a barrier sidearm, it just staggers all red bars. And it shoots through the phalanxes shield, because on the Nightmare Collapsing segment, the biggest problem is phalanxes. Back in the days, people would use Ariana's Vow to kill them. Because we didn't have many options. We'll always save a shoulder charge, by the way, for the bell bearers. So when we've done our symbol, all right, the bell bearers are on the opposite side from to where the open bell is. we always go to them and blind them with the seismic strike, because that'll do two things. It'll kill one of the bell bearers and blind the other one to clean up with the fusion. So it's really good. We'll get our dunk here. Now we'll go in with our jolt. We're DPS now. So once you've done your two symbols, it's obviously DPS. Now the VIPs change as well. So it goes from solar. The first guy's solar. The second guy's a void shield, I think. Solar void arc, I think. Sorry, he's the arc void solar, I think. But it doesn't really matter. They're just VIPs. They're not true bosses. By the way, I'm going to change my radar, because this radar at highest opacity is terrible. I could barely see on the radar the red, because it's important. I use my radar for a few things, especially when on Gahlran. You use it a lot in Gahlran for when you're checking rooms on sounds, because it means you can go to a room and check if there's ads in there, because they don't always show themselves. So being able to know that there's a scion in that room before you go in there is good. And also the radar was bothering me. I don't like it the way I had it there. I just thought I would try it out and I hate it. I thought I would have liked it, but I didn't. I just went it back to standard. So same thing again. We'll just kill, reload, obviously with the Vault Shot. I'm going to pulse nade the Colossus. I'm going to come back. Bear in mind, you need to kill all enemies, just about. You will not, even if you kill Colossus, the Nightmare will not spawn. That is a critical thing. You must do it, unless you're going to lose time. If you mess up at all, you've got like a 10 to 15 second leeway, alright, of messing up. As in, ads are hiding on you, you're not able to kill them quick enough. Alright, that's fine. But you can't let the ads play up too much. That's where you need to play aggressive. That's why the sidearm's good for this. Forbearance, obviously we've got it back now, and a lot of people used to use forbearance in this counter. Forbearance is going to do you really well. So if you want to use forbearance, I'm not saying that you can't, but I'm just saying, hey, look, try this option, because it's melting the phalanxes anyways, to the point where I wouldn't need forbearance, right? Because Brigand's Law's melting everything anyways, and it's more restoration. What you need to understand is this: if you run forbearance with Precious Scars, that's not always going to heal you, because you may run out of special. Now you can run a special armor build, etc., but I'm saying Precious Scars is nicer to use with a primary, because it's guaranteed restoration all time. And it means that you don't have to keep spamming your special at all times. Like, specials aren't always to be spammed at like 100% uptime. You know, sometimes ammo's to be saved, sometimes it isn't, sometimes you can spam it. Everything is all dependent. But when we use a primary with Precious Scars, and then a special in our kinetic slot, nothing ever goes wrong. We're always good. There's never something that can go wrong really with ammo, because we're really only using our scatter signal to kill orange bars and stuff, maybe, and then, you know, stuff like that. So it's good. It works. Like I say, you can see it. I don't need to prove it, because it's here. The gameplay is here to show you it. But are you noticing one thing? The seismic strike is one shot on orange bars. When doing this encounter, I realized that, hang on a sec, Duality has a ton of orange bars in it, right? It also has a ton of red bars, but it has a ton of orange bars. Being able to one-shot orange bars, a lot of them back to back, is really good. How can we do this with the seismic strike? Well, there's Insurmountable Skullfort, which we're going to cover when we get to that point. We do our search, which is still as well, bear in mind. Just be careful when you're DPSing though on this phase, because a lot of ads are surrounding you. That's where you want to get your Thunder Crash over shield at some point, because you haven't got Precious Scars on, of course. So just be careful not to die on DPS. Just keep swording. Keep swording. Like right now, for example, I haven't got any healing on, so we're going to try and get a cover quickly. By the way, with the symbols, it actually shows you outside what the symbols are, but this is for newer players, the map thing. And also, it's the thing of, when you think of a symbol and you're looking at it while you're fighting ads, if you can quickly distinguish where where your rotation of symbols are whilst you're fighting ads with not much headache to you, then that's a good thing. If something like looking at a map helps you, do it. if you don't need, like, it's only 4 symbols, so I can understand people saying, why the hell do you need a map? Well, you don't. You don't need a map, but it is helpful, I think, to newer players who are playing Duality. Because Nightmare Collapse and the Realm looks all the same. So you could go to Cup rather than Sun. I have done that countless times. I've went to Cup rather than Sun. I've done all the rotations you can think of back in the day. So we've all done it. And because there's no landmarks in the realm to sort of know exactly where you're going, because it all looks the same. And that's how I'm saying, that's how you can get it wrong. It's designed this way for that to be the case. That's how they designed it. So that's what I'm saying. Like I say, I just think in my mind, stairs, looking away from stairs, right, Cup's top left, I know where I'm at. So if I get Cup and Axe, I'm like, right, that's the entire left-hand side of symbols. Okay, that's easy. Go and do that. And then I can clear my mind for ad clear. I can forget about symbols and then just go ham on the ads, right? This is all about clearing your mind whilst you're doing stuff, all right? And that's what it's all about, especially for players who struggle. Players who don't struggle, they don't need said video. They don't need it. On the outside as well, same thing. Wherever the bells open is where the bell bearers will be. They'll be beneath the open bell. Not the open bell, the closed bell. Well, in actual fact, the bell's not even there. It despawns. So the bell the side that doesn't have a bell on it, that's where your bell bearers will be. That's where you melt them to open the bell. Then the bell on the opposite side of the map. But yeah, this loadout worked. I knew that it would work well because I know in the past I have used anti-barrier sidearm on these phalanxes before, and it's absolutely melted them. And that's what gave me the idea to use Brigand's Law in the first place. Because I was originally going to use Aikilos. I was like, no, wait. I don't need... Oh, here we go, look. So the power of a phalanx. Power of phalanxes can do this to you. They used to one-shot because of that. That doesn't happen now because of physics. They fixed that way. Well, they didn't fix it. They just made it so that you don't die from physics bugs anymore. But I could have still died. That's a prime example of, yeah, they fixed it so the physics don't hurt you, but I was a cleanup kill. A dog, the Colossus, whatever, could have cleared me up there really quick. Luckily, I was quick to swap. If that happens, swap to Lament and guard. Until you see that restoration from your health, guard. We'll get our seismic strike like always. It one-shots and then finish the other one up with the fusion. We do that every time like that. Like, look, we're minus 10 seconds. So you see there, we're actually going to shoot the bell here at 6 seconds. Now, a problem happened there to no fault of my own, and we nearly wiped. So that's what I'm saying. With the Nightmare Collapsing, you need to have a good routine with it and always be 10 to 15 seconds ahead of yourself. Because there's things that can happen to you. You could get booped. All sorts of things. Being ahead of your time curve in Nightmare Collapsing is the biggest thing. Once you understand that, the nightmare isn't too bad. But things can happen. But that's why you've got that backup 15 seconds. Just in case something does happen, you've still got enough time to pull the run back. So that's the vault done. Really simple. So again, we'll speed it up from here. It's traversal. We've got Lion Ramparts on. Because they fixed the physics bug, which was a while back now, there was a spot where you could die down a chute. You'd fall down this chute, and if you didn't time your jump, here's a chest, by the way. I'll just go and get the chest while I'm here. May as well. I think I got boots twice. Like, why am I getting armor? I think you should be... An option should turn up on a chest and say, do you want weapons or armor? Like a little menu on dungeon chests. They could do so much with this game. They just choose not to. Like, things like that. I don't want to farm armor off Duality. I don't want to farm armor. I don't want to farm armor off any dungeon, to be honest, because I've got... Unless it's Avarice armor, then that's different. But... yeah, there should be a little menu pop up and say, do you want weapons or armor? Oh, weapons today, sir. I'll have that damn Storm Chaser. Yeah, no problem. Huh? Why? Something so simple. Because there's a lot of runs where you'll do Duality. You just get armor. You know, it's like Prophecy's getting like that. Now, I've noticed since they've updated Prophecy's loot pool, it's highly weighted to armor now more than weapons. that from my experience since they updated its loot pool. How true that is, I don't know, but I just know from my own experience. Constantly getting armor. So now we're going to be using the build that I mentioned at the start of the video, which is an Insurmountable Skullfort with the with Lament, etc. So here's the map. This is the Caiatl map. So looking away from spawn, which this graphs the right way up this time. Sun top left, axe top right, dog bottom left, cup bottom right. Looking away from spawn where the raid banner was put in. So now that we understand that, right, that's the first thing. You've obviously got the bells to deal with. You've got a lot of ads. Now, I'm running Skullfort now, like I said, just reveling in this gameplay. These are what Titans... Okay, you think you're a Titan main, then you're not. If you can't play Unsurmountable Skullfort and Arc Titan, you're not. You need to go away and go and experience that for a few weeks and then come back to me. Because a lot of Titan mains nowadays, especially if you started Beyond Light, there seems to be an odd thing where people have started in Beyond Light. That was a massive influx of players for some reason. I don't know why, because Beyond Light wasn't even that good, but that's when a lot of people started. I didn't start then. I started obviously way back day one, but you just missed out on this gameplay loop because between 2017 to Beyond Light, well, maybe 18 months, Striker Titan was a menace in PvE in terms of what he could do. And he also used to generate grenade energy. I don't think it does now, but we've got mods that can help us do that. But it's because it's giving us health regen and we're getting our melee back like this, look. It one-shots all ads in this room. Good news for you, that means we can spam it back to back. Forget about Bonk Titan, we have this, because we can get health regen and blind all the ads, have extremely good ad clear on a class that we shouldn't really have as good ad clear on. So, if you're in a circumstance, in a dungeon, where there's a lot of orange bars, and there's a lot of red bars, and it's a benefit to you to one-shot them with a melee, then always think about Striker Titan in your back of your mind. Don't be thinking, oh, well, Banner Titan, Banner of War. Yeah, we've got that, but if you need T-Crash for some reason for your fire team, or you just want it for solo DPS because it's an arc season, always think you can use an Insurmountable Skullfort for surviving, and then you can do a surge switch to Curious. That's if we get an arc season at some point, which we haven't had one for a bit, so I believe we're going to end up getting one at some point. I mean, I know it's final shape, so we're not getting it next season because it's going to be everything. But so when we go into the realm, so in this case we got dog and sun. So we'll go for those two symbols. That's the left hand side. So we'll kill him with the shoulder charge, pick up both symbols. Then we need to go mid and deal with the bell bearers. There are 4. This is another reason why the build's so good, because it's going to guarantee one of them killed, and it's going to blind the other bell bearer to then clean up with either your sidearm or your fusion rifle. I recommend the fusion. See, because what you understand, this is so good on so many levels, and like I say, I'm really good with Duality. The reason why it's so good is this. The bell bearers contain backpacks. These are destructible objects in the game. If you kill them, if you body shot kill them, their backpack will lay on the floor, on the ground, and will be a destructible object that you can be killed from if Caiatl stomps you whilst there's a backpack on the floor. Alright? Or if, it's destructive objects. The thing about it though is the backpack doesn't exist because Seismic Strike disintegrates it, and so do fusion rifles. So this is why we want disintegration weapons. They're not even a certain weapon in Destiny, but they are now. A fusion rifle will disintegrate them, the backpacks. Okay? This is huge, the fact that we can just show the charge everything and everything's clean. Okay? It's like your mum when she cleans your room. Everything's clean now, there's no backpacks on the floor. For DPS, this is a big thing. So don't get me wrong, sometimes there'll be a backpack on the floor, but if there is, we can explode it and manage that. So this is DPS, right? We're going to shoot the chains. You can shoot any chains at all you want. Surge switch. You need to do that before you go. We're going to build up our charge, our melee charge that is, and then look at where Caiatl goes. We're going to cut Caiatl off on the freeway, right? Because there's the reasons for this. Then we'll shoot the bell just before Caiatl gets to the bell. Then it's pulse grenade, T-crash. I know it's not a fallen star one. There's a reason for this. The reason is that we can keep Insurmountable Skullfort on, and we don't need to surge switch. Well, we do surge switch, but we don't exotic switch. Caiatl's now going middle. The reason why we don't switch exotics is because we can keep Skullfort on and shoulder charge all of the bell bearers. Do you understand that's the number one reason why people can't do this? It's because of the bell bearers. Hey, this loadout solves that. Just like what a Skullfort, just like what a Bonk Titan would, and just like what Assassin's Call would, in the same way. It's guaranteeing us to get to DPS every time so that Caiatl doesn't reach the bell. Because that's exactly what you're doing. You're stopping Caiatl reaching the bell, because if she reaches the bell, you lose damage. So look at the damage we did there. That was a T-crash with no fallen star. The damage was good. Do you know why? Because of solo operator. So even though we didn't use fallen star, which I've just said, the reason why we didn't on this is so that we keep Skullfort on for phase 2 and phase 3, right, for each phase. So I was like, why? There's no point to switch to fallen star. It's a 2-phase anyways. And this comes down to the philosophy that I've said to you before. Stop micromanaging DPS phases. If the phases are going to be the same no matter what you do on the loadout, then it doesn't matter, does it? What does matter is, well, is there going to be problems during GPS? On the Fallen Star loadout, there would have been, because we wouldn't have back-to-back shoulder charges like this. So therefore, we rely on the fusion, which is a good job, but it doesn't guarantee it every time. Whereas this will absolutely, as long as you're good on the shoulder charge gameplay loop, then you will guarantee get to the bell before Caiatl. It'll be so easy to you that you'll think, well, why is this being hard in the first place? It's literally that good because it's blind in the second bell bearer. It guarantees it. It guarantees it. So we'll dunk our symbols here. We've got Arc and Sun. Don't dunk symbols back to back, because each dunk, by the way, spawns in the solar shielded Centurion things. All right. So dunk one, do a bit of ag clear with the shoulder charge. Okay, we're not really using weapons here. You could run double special. I could have run Indebted Kindness. If I wanted to right now, that would have worked out really well, actually. But it didn't matter, because the build's doing everything for us on this fight. And like I say, just keep Skullfort on anyways. Just Skullfort on DPS for the bellbearers. Like I say, because of solo operator, your T-crash is still doing sizable damage, and to the point where it's not make or break. You wouldn't even need to use the T-crash as long as your Lament combo is on point and that you jolt him. That's the biggest thing. Jolt and Caiatl will add so much damage to your phase, so make sure you're running a high discipline stat with the mods. Use my dim link and then you'll be fine. You'll get grenades for DPS phases, because adding jolt to your Lament combo will be sizable. And remember, with the Lament combo for damage, it matters a bit more, because you're doing DPS in short damage bursts per bell. So doing the 2 light heavy technique that I've told and spoke to you at length about, you should know it by now. I've said to you, charged 2 light, 1 heavy, then 2 light swings, because the 2 light swings are then going to have enough recharge rate from Lament to then do another 2 light charged, then 1 heavy, rinse and repeat over and over and over like this. And it is a little bit more important on Caiatl. But as this phase starts, you could maybe do 4 light, 1 heavy, then go to 2 light, 1 heavy, because you have a full charge of sword recharge rate at the start of a damage phase. So you can also sort of do it like that as well. Just as long as you're not completely thrown on your Lament damage, you're good. General rule of thumb, you don't need to be a master of Lament like people think that you do. I've used Lament for years, and I don't always play with it perfectly, and generally I do just fine with it. So he goes fun. He goes the fun police. He's fun police. So Caiatl's fun police. I've shoulder charged Caiatl, which, by the way, can happen because of auto tracking. That could have easily tracked a Scion, but it tracked the boss. So we have actually lost our shoulder charge. This is the weakness of the build. But because of knockout, we can get our health regen back via uncharged melee kills. That's exactly what I'm going to do now. The build is neutered, I will admit. It is neutered if you lose your shoulder charge like this. So the build is only as powerful as what you're doing. So if you are, like I said, in an activity with orange bars and a lot of red bars, and you can one-shot that orange bar with your seismic strike, then this build is very strong. If it's just red bars and there's no orange bars in something that you're doing, or limited, then there's no point you using the build. You may as well run Heart of Inmost Light or something like that, or something different. So it just depends, but like I've never ran Skullfort in this. I don't think so, at least. I do often forget what videos I've done from the past, though. This is something that actually happens to me. Because I've got now 1,200 videos made, I actually have to go looking at the old stuff that I've did to remind myself about some things. It's actually quite scary. I do forget things. So I actually can't remember if I have a video. I don't think I have. I think I've done a Void Titan run one ages ago on Duality. I don't think I've got an Arc Striker one. I've done an Arc Striker on Ghost of the Deep, which we might have used Skullfort on there. Again, I can't mind. So we're DPS now. Remember, try and kill the 2 bell bearers as quickly as possible. Cut Caiatl off on the freeway like this. This stops her getting there. She does a stomp. Cut her off. Don't go around the pillar. Go right to her. Don't run away from the danger. You are the danger. Look. Jolt. Do Lament. We're not super in this time because the timing's not there for me. Right, then we'll go to middle and guard because she could go left. Okay. Or she could go mid. We're guarding. Right, we've got middle bell with a fusion. We'll start with the super this time. And then just Lament combos. Lament combos messing up on my controller, so look, it does happen time to time. We're quite weak here, by the way, but that's fine. Look, it just shows you the strength. We're getting the health back, we're blinding the bell bearers. It allows us to consistently do things like this. So we'll finish the boss off. So that was the Solar Flaws for Duality. I hope you enjoy. Thank you.